The Asian golden cat reached the fallen bamboo after midday, when the forest was loud enough to hide small mistakes but quiet enough to punish large ones. The slope had failed weeks earlier. Heavy rain had undercut the soil, loosening the root mat that held the bamboo stand upright. When it finally gave way, it did not snap cleanly. The culms bent, folded, and collapsed downslope in a dense, interlocked mass, green, alive, and unyielding. From above, it looked passable. Bamboo often was. The golden cat slowed at the edge of the fall, body lowering automatically, tail dropping until it brushed leaf litter. Its head moved slightly from side to side as it tested sightlines through the tangle. Light filtered unevenly, broken into thin blades that shifted with the breeze. Nothing moved inside. That was the problem. Bamboo usually parted. Living stems flexed. Dead ones cracked. Both gave information quickly. This mass did neither. The culms lay pressed together under their own tension, each supporting the next, storing force instead of releasing it. The cat placed one paw forward. The stem beneath it bent, but did not separate. Resistance travelled sideways instead of downward, pushing against adjacent culms. The structure redistributed pressure instantly. The cat withdrew the paw. It waited. Sound here behaved strangely. The hollow clack of bamboo knocking against bamboo carried far, but small movements were swallowed. The forest beyond the fall continued normally, birds calling, insects clicking, but inside the tangle, nothing registered clearly. The golden cat tested again, this time stepping sideways onto a thinner cluster of stems. The bamboo dipped slightly, then stopped. No cracking, no sliding, just a firm, spring-loaded hold. The cat shifted weight slowly, spreading pressure across all four paws. Still nothing parted. This was wrong. Bamboo that resisted too evenly was dangerous. It meant stored energy, not flexibility. The cat backed off a half step, then circled along the edge of the fall, looking for a break. Any place where gravity or rot had begun to weaken the structure, there were none. The fall had settled into itself, culms locked together by angle and tension. Below the fall, the forest floor was visible again. Open leaf litter, normal ground, familiar movement. Above it, the cat's route continued uphill. The bamboo fall was the shortest crossing. The cat chose it anyway, not out of haste, out of calculation. Longer routes meant exposure in open understory where deer paths and human trails intersected. Here, visibility was low, smell was trapped, sound distorted. The cat stepped onto the bamboo again, this time committing. Its body moved forward smoothly, muscles relaxed but ready, weight distributed carefully. Each step tested the response before the next followed. The stems bent under the cat, forming shallow depressions that looked safe enough. But they did not slide aside. They held, compressed, pressing back. Halfway across, the cat stopped. Not because it was unstable, because it was too stable. The bamboo beneath felt like a woven surface, taut and resistant, refusing to separate into individual elements. This meant that if collapse came, it would come suddenly and across a wide area. The cat lowered its body further, spreading weight, tail lifting slightly to counterbalance. It advanced one more step. The bamboo responded late. A culm shifted deeper in the tangle, releasing tension elsewhere. The movement was subtle, but it travelled. Stems farther upslope tightened. Others downslope loosened. The surface beneath the cat tilted, not enough to fall, enough to warn. The cat froze instantly, breath slowed, muscles held without shaking. It listened not for sound, but for response. The bamboo creaked once, softly, then stopped. The cat waited longer than was comfortable. When nothing followed, it continued, but now diagonally, angling across the fall rather than straight over. This reduced reliance on any single line of stems. Near the far edge, the bamboo changed character. Older culms, thicker and darker, lay partially buried under newer growth. These resisted bending more strongly and transferred pressure more efficiently. The cat stepped onto them and felt the difference immediately. The surface did not flex. It shifted. Several stems moved together, rolling slightly against one another, the whole mass behaving like a single object rather than many. The cat adjusted mid-step, claws extending reflexively to grip smooth surfaces that offered no purchase. The bamboo did not part. The cat slipped sideways, body sliding a short distance before stopping abruptly against a knot of thicker culms. Its flank struck bamboo hard enough to knock breath from its chest, but not enough to injure. It clung there, claws hooked uselessly around smooth stems, body pressed into the tangle. Below, the forest floor was still several body lengths away. Above, the slope rose beyond reach. The bamboo held. Too well. The cat did not struggle. Struggling triggered release. Instead, it waited, allowing its body to settle into the shape the bamboo had imposed. Breath returned. Heart rate slowed. Only then did it begin to move again. It shifted weight incrementally, finding a place where two culms crossed at an angle that allowed friction rather than roll. It pressed into that junction and pulled itself forward, not up, not down, sideways. It took time. When the cat finally reached the edge of the fall and stepped onto solid ground, it did not stop immediately. It moved several body lengths into the understory before lowering itself and lying still. The bamboo behind it remained unchanged. No gap, no collapse, no sign of passage. That was the danger. The bamboo fall had absorbed movement without showing it. It had refused to part, refused to break, refused to give warning beyond subtle resistance. The cat lay still until its breathing fully normalized. It would not cross there again. Bamboo was flexible, but only when it chose to be. When it locked itself together, it became something else entirely. Not a barrier, not a floor, but a trap that waited for pressure to accumulate. The forest resumed its normal sounds. The bamboo fall stayed silent. And the golden cat, already rewriting its routes, understood that some obstacles did not fail loudly or early. They held, and then they decided. The golden cat did not move far after leaving the bamboo fall. It stopped where the forest floor returned to honesty. Leaf litter, soil that compressed and released immediately, roots that either held or broke without delay. The cat lowered itself and remained still, letting its body relearn the language of ground. Breathing normalized slowly. The impact against the bamboo had not injured muscle or bone, but it had displaced confidence. That mattered more. Confidence returned only when surfaces behaved predictably again. Behind the cat, the bamboo fall remained unchanged. No stems sprang back, no gap marked passage. The mass lay exactly as before, smooth, green, interlocked. To anything approaching from above, it would look untouched. That meant danger persisted. The cat rose and moved parallel to the fall instead of away from it, keeping several body lengths of distance. It wanted to understand how far the bamboo's influence extended. Fallen stands rarely ended cleanly. Tension travelled. It tested the ground with deliberate steps. Near the edge, soil was compacted unnaturally by repeated pressure from the fallen culms. Roots had been bent rather than broken, creating spring beneath leaf litter. The cat avoided stepping directly over these zones, choosing older ground where decay had softened structure honestly. Prey movement was scarce here. Small mammals avoided the bamboo edge, not because it blocked them, but because sound and scent behaved inconsistently. Inside the tangle, noise was absorbed. Outside it, sound arrived late and distorted. This made detection unreliable. The cat adjusted expectations. Hunting immediately after crossing was inefficient. Instead, it moved upslope, following a contour where the forest thinned slightly and bamboo density dropped. Here, living stands still flexed individually. Culms knocked together lightly, giving early feedback. That difference mattered. The cat waited. Time passed without opportunity. Then movement arrived, not from the forest floor, but from above. A bird descended clumsily through mid-story, landing awkwardly near a cluster of young bamboo shoots. The cat tracked it briefly, then released focus. Birds here were too alert, too vertical. Ground prey mattered more. Eventually, a muntjac passed downslope, skirting the bamboo fall rather than crossing it. Its path curved wide, avoiding the compressed soil near the tangle. It moved quickly, head high, muscles tight. The cat watched and learned. Prey were adapting too. The bamboo fall had altered routes, redirecting movement along predictable arcs. Where paths bent away, pressure increased. Where pressure increased, ground wore differently. Those differences accumulated. The cat repositioned again, moving to a point where animal trails converged after diverting around the bamboo. Here, ground showed layered disturbance, hoof prints overlapping, soil churned but not compacted, leaf litter displaced repeatedly. This was a better place. The cat lowered itself and waited. Waiting here felt different from the ravine shade or grass breaks it had known elsewhere. There was no sudden collapse of light or cover. Instead, tension built gradually as animals approached the convergence point, uncertain, committed too late to alternative routes. The cat waited for that hesitation. A muntjac returned. It appeared cautiously, slowing as paths narrowed. The bamboo loomed nearby, silent and dense. The animal hesitated longer than usual, testing scent, lifting its head repeatedly. The cat moved only when the muntjac committed to passing through the narrowed corridor. The strike was clean, no sliding surfaces, no rolling stems. Just ground that responded immediately. The cat closed the distance in a controlled burst, ending the chase before it began. After feeding, the cat dragged the remains farther upslope, away from the bamboo's reach. Eating near the fall felt wrong. The density pressed inward even when nothing moved. As evening approached, the forest cooled unevenly. Air flowed differently near the bamboo mass, sinking and pooling where culms blocked circulation. Smell lingered longer here, layered and confusing. The cat avoided those pockets. It moved again, circling wide around the fall to rejoin its original route at a higher elevation. The path was longer, steeper, but free of stored tension. From above, the bamboo fall looked unchanged. From the cat's perspective, it had become a permanent exclusion zone, not because it blocked movement entirely, but because it offered no margin for correction once pressure built. The lesson settled fully now. Flexibility was not softness. Soft things broke early and honestly. Dense things absorbed force until they could not, and then failed without warning. The cat did not test the bamboo again that night. It moved into older forest where fallen trees lay scattered rather than stacked, where obstacles failed one at a time instead of together. Behind it, the bamboo fall waited. Not as a wall, as a surface that would not part, until weight accumulated just enough to make separation catastrophic. The cat understood this in the only way that mattered. It stayed away. The change did not announce itself. It arrived as straightness. The Asian golden cat noticed it days later while moving along an upper contour of the slope where the forest transitioned gradually into denser bamboo. One section of the stand no longer leaned or clustered organically. The culms there rose and fell in parallel, their bases spaced more evenly than chance allowed. Someone had been here. Not recently enough to leave strong scent, but recently enough that cut ends had not yet dulled. Several bamboo culms lay trimmed near the ground, their hollow interiors dark and dry, their tops removed cleanly and dragged away. Selective cutting. The bamboo fall below had not been touched. That mattered. When bamboo was cut selectively, tension did not disappear. It relocated. Culms that once shared load now leaned harder against those that remained. Density increased unevenly, creating zones of excessive stiffness beside areas of relative flexibility. The cat slowed. It tested the air first. Human presence lingered faintly, oil, cloth, metal, but more important was the silence. Birds avoided this section. Insects moved less. Sound carried farther between stems now that some had been removed. The cat approached the cut edge cautiously. Where bamboo had been thinned, light penetrated deeper, drying soil and leaf litter. The ground here felt firmer, less elastic. Roots that once spread load were now exposed or broken. This created paths, not obvious trails, but corridors where movement felt easier. Easier movement invited repetition. Repetition hardened ground further. The cat avoided stepping directly into these corridors. Experience had already taught it that surfaces shaped by repeated pressure lied. They absorbed weight too well. Instead, it paralleled them, staying within denser, uncut bamboo where culms still flexed individually. Here, feedback returned quickly. Bend, knock, release. But this came with cost. Visibility dropped. Sound fragmented. Every step required more time. The cat moved deeper into the stand, following the boundary between cut and uncut bamboo. This boundary behaved strangely. On one side, stems parted slightly under pressure. On the other, they resisted and redirected force sideways. This was a hinge. The cat paused here, body low, tail lifted slightly to avoid brushing stems. It listened. Below, movement came from the direction of the bamboo fall. Prey were being redirected upward, away from the densest mass and toward cut corridors that offered apparent ease. The cat understood. Humans had not removed the bamboo fall, but they had reshaped how animals approached it. Paths now converged where density shifted abruptly. Animals hesitated there, uncertain which side offered safety. Hesitation created opportunity. The cat repositioned. It chose a place where a cut corridor narrowed suddenly against uncut bamboo, forcing animals to pass close to dense stems before reaching open ground. The soil here was disturbed but not compacted, fresh, loose, honest. The cat waited. A muntjac appeared first, moving carefully, head high, ears flicking constantly. It tested the corridor, stepped into it, then backed out again, unsettled by altered acoustics. The cat remained still. Then a porcupine passed, slow, deliberate, uninterested. The cat ignored it. Finally, a smaller deer moved through, younger, less experienced. It chose the corridor fully, committing to the straightened path. The cat struck. The bamboo responded immediately. Stems flexed outward as the cat launched, absorbing some motion, releasing others. There was no stored tension here, only individual response. The strike succeeded cleanly, ending before the prey could react effectively. After feeding, the cat moved again, unwilling to remain near human-altered structure for long. As night approached, distant sounds reached the forest, voices far upslope, metal striking metal briefly. Someone was still working, deeper in the bamboo stand. This would continue. The cat adjusted its mental map again. Bamboo was no longer just natural density, it now had edges, corridors, hinges, places where force and movement concentrated unnaturally. The original bamboo fall remained the most dangerous feature, but now it was framed by altered approach routes that funneled animals toward it, increasing pressure in predictable ways. That made future collapse more likely, not sudden, delayed. The cat would not be there when it happened. It moved upslope into older forest where bamboo thinned into scattered clusters and trees regained dominance. Here, fallen logs broke independently. Roots failed one at a time. Nothing stored force across large areas. The cat settled there for the night. Below, the bamboo fall lay unchanged. Above it, human-cut corridors quietly guided movement, pressure building where flexibility had been reduced but not removed. The forest had not been cleared, it had been shaped. And the golden cat, already altering its routes once more, understood that the most dangerous places were no longer the densest ones, but those that looked newly manageable, while hiding tension redistributed from elsewhere.